Greetings, sports fans nationwide. You've entered the Sports Opinion Log. Last night, Thanksgiving Day, the NFL had two instead of three games, and they were the worst games in recent NFL history as the Lions and Cowboys, respectively, got over 40 plus points dropped on their heads. I'm going to pass the blame just the way you would pass around the plate on Thanksgiving Day. So if you're down with all things NFL, AFC, or NFC, or represent like me, the Steel City from New York City, make sure that you're subscribing to the channel and press that bell icon so you can receive the notification for the next upcoming future video. But currently, right here and now, let's talk about who deserves the blame for their respective teams' losses on Thanksgiving. Master of the 6-point shovel pass, let's go. So yesterday afternoon, we had the Lions taking on the Houston Texans. Final score 41-25. J.J. Watt with a pick six over Matthew Stafford, who has now lost 4 straight Thanksgiving Day games. And it is a shame because Lion fans don't ask for much because they know they're not going to get much. All Detroit Lion fans want for the football season is just one game, the Thanksgiving Day game. And time again, Matthew Stafford fails to deliver like he's done for the 4th year in a row. But there's a lot of historical perspectives behind the win for the Texans and the loss for the Lions. So being a sports historian, let me just break down the history that was made yesterday. So Deshaun Watson has now surpassed Hall of Famers Johnny Unitas and Peyton Manning with 91 for the 4th most passing touchdowns in a player's first 50 games in his NFL career. Sounds pretty fair. The Lions, of course, like previously mentioned, have also lost 4 of their last 5 games by 10 plus points. And Deshaun Watson also had 100 plus passer rating for the 8th time this season, tied for most in a season in Houston Texans history. And again, like previously mentioned, the Lions as a total under Matthew Stafford, since he's been with them since 2009, are now 4-8 on Thanksgiving Day games. Deshaun Watson has also surpassed Matt Schwab, who had 12 for the most games with 3 plus passing touchdowns in Houston Texans history. And Deshaun Watson has also surpassed Matt Schaub, who had 21 in 2009 for the most passing touchdowns through the first 11 games of a season in Houston Texans history. Adrian Peterson, AP, joining Marcus Allen in 1996 as the only running backs ages 35 years or older with 2 rushing touchdowns on Thanksgiving Day since at least 1948. And like previously mentioned, J.J. Watt with the pick six has now joined Dave Bell in 2008 and Larry Cole in 1968 as the only defensive lineman with an INT return for a touchdown on Thanksgiving Day since 1948. That's pretty cool. Again, if you're a Texans fan, if you're a Lions fan, it's just another disappointing year and another disappointing day. And speaking of disappointments, let me get into the Dallas Cowboys suffering that horrific loss to the no-name Washington football team. In a battle of 3-7 teams, the Cowboys take the loss 41-16 final score as the no-name Washington football team beat them down in their house on Thanksgiving Day. And honestly, I don't know what it is with the Cowboys. You know, you try to cheer for them because they're self-proclaimed America's team, which we know they're not. That would belong to my and your Pittsburgh Steelers, still undefeated on the season. But you would think, come on, Thanksgiving Day, look out for your fans. And they don't. And honestly, watching the game, the defense sucks, the offense sucks, and they don't push and pull for one another. And then when they get little runs going, they self-destruct. Ezekiel Elliott leads the NFL with 5 lost fumbles. He is no longer a top 5 running back. He is no longer a top 10 running back. Zeke Elliott is trash, something that I, the prophet, had decreed when Jerry Jones stupidly gave him that $90 million contract. Look at it. He fumbles without even being touched. And then in the second half, he goes on a 15, 18-yard run. But guess what? It gets pulled back for holding. Come on. And then Andy Dalton with the pick six. And how about the Cowboys' porous defense allowing Antonio Gibson to run for 3 rushing touchdowns, becoming the first rookie since you know who, or maybe if you're too young, you probably don't know who, Randy Moss, way back 22 years ago when he had 3 touchdowns on the Cowboys, who had a chance to draft him, but yet they did not. I mean, it just makes it's mind-boggling. It's baffling between Mike McCarthy and his stupid fourth down plays and his selections and the offense and special teams just not carrying it through. And again, on offense, how do you have Amari Cooper, Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Ezekiel Elliott, and Andy Dalton still acts like he has never set foot on a football field before? And you would think after they beat the Vikings that they would have something to build on, except they suffer another horrific, horrifying, disheartening, lackluster effort lost. And the NFC East, aka the NFC least, is still amazingly up for grabs. Can and will the Cowboys take advantage? Giant fans can only hope so. But of course, the sports historian, I have to note it down in the annals of sports history, what happened last night, and the history that was made and set by Antonio Gibson. So of course, again, Antonio Gibson, 25 touches, 136 scrimmage yards, 3 touchdowns. His lame-ass counterpart, Ezekiel Elliott, 11 touches, 39 scrimmage yards, and of course, a lost fumble. Jerry Jones should have never gave him that $90 million contract. What a fool. So with that victory, the Washington football team has defeated the Cowboys twice in the same season for the first time since 2012. What a shame. But again, like I previously said, the Cowboys defense is horrible. They suck. Meanwhile, under Ron Rivera, the Washington football team has now dropped 20 plus points in 5 straight games, first time since 2017. And if you're a fantasy football owner of Antonio Gibson, I would highly recommend you keep him in your lineup as he has now scored 1+ rushing touchdown in 5 straight games, the most by a Washington Redskins rookie in the team's history. Of course, there was supposed to be a third game. That was supposed to be my and your Steelers taking on the Baltimore Ravens, but due to coronavirus, COVID-19, the Sunday 1 o'clock game has now become the Tuesday night game because unfortunately we are very deep into the NFL season and there's a lot of concern with lack of flexibility to shuffle and move games around. And Lamar Jackson, it was mentioned, was diagnosed with COVID-19, so he will not be playing for the Ravens this Tuesday. So I look forward to the Steelers going 11-0 on the season, as unfortunate as it is that Lamar Jackson has been diagnosed with COVID-19. But that's the breaks. These are the times that we're currently living in. So the adjustments must be made. Society still has to move on, and these games must be played. Again, I look forward to the Steelers going 11-0 on the season. Thank you very much, sports fans, for tuning in. I'll catch y'all later with more of NFL Week 12, but the only way you can be a part of it, remember, make sure, subscribe, bell icon, master of the shovel pass, representing the Steel City, here from the bright lights of New York City. Lex Anderson signing out.